And hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. Happy Tuesday. I'm Kim Davis. Today is Tuesday, October the 11th. And first off, before I say anything else, happy birthday to my sister Sylvia. Today is her birthday. Sunday was my brother's heavenly birthday. It's our first day without my brother. So just wanted to acknowledge that and my sister. But listen, welcome to all of you. We are officially in the fourth quarter of 2022. So you know what that means? It means a whole lot of stuff is happening. A lot is going on. Today is the first day of the American League Divisional Series. The Houston Astros, of course, have the best record in the American League. They finished the season with 106 wins. So they're hosting the Seattle Mariners today and Thursday at the Juice Box at Minute Maid Park. I will be there. And so we're going to talk a little baseball today. We're going to let you hear from Dusty. I'll let you hear from Altuve as the Astros embark on another postseason, another run for the title. But first things first, they have to get past these pesky Mariners who finished the season, on the upswing with a lot of motivation. So a lot of momentum, let me say, not motivation. They all have motivation. We'll talk about the baseball situation in just a moment. The Houston Texans, this is their bye week, but not before getting their first win of the season on the road in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. So the Texans finished, I guess you could say, the first quarter of the season. One, wait, they've lost three games. One, three, and one. Won a game, lost three, and they tied one. So, it is time for a break. It's an early bye. It may be at a good time for this Texans team. They get a chance to kind of self-evaluate, as Lovie Smith talked about on yesterday. I'll let you hear from Coach Lovie Smith, and they also get a chance to, get ready and start putting the game plan in for the Raiders. When they come back, they head to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders in Las Vegas. So a lot happening. And oh yeah, by the way, preseason basketball is underway. The Houston Rockets won their first two preseason home games, and then they lost on the road to Atlanta 118 to 110. It is preseason, but believe it or not, what are we, a week away from the regular season opener? They opened the season in Atlanta on October the 19th. Hey, y'all, it is one of my favorite times of year. A whole lot's happening. And today, the big interview is with Hall of Famer Darrell Green. He will join us to talk about a program, a project he's doing or he's being a part of with Dr. Baxter Montgomery, who joined us last week. Heart and soul of a champion. We'll talk to Darrell Green about what his role is, what he's learned about his health, what he's doing, and then we'll ask him a few football questions. So it's a great show. I'm glad you're with us. But as always, when we get started, we have to make sure you know how this show is made possible. Our title sponsor for today's show is Affordable Painters with Hillary Como. I will put his information. You'll find it in the chat. If you're in the Houston area, he's who you want to call. He does commercial painting, painting projects, top notch, great customer service, and great quality of paint. And if you get a chance to work with Hillary and his crew, you will probably also get a few laughs because he has an incredible personality. So make sure you look in the chat for the information about Affordable Painters and Hillary Como. Also, as always, I love Jinka. It's that time of year if you want to kind of shore up your immune system, in addition to decreasing inflammation. I love Jinka. Jinka turmeric paste, Jinka turmeric capsules. If you don't want to, use the paste to make a, a latte or have apple juice, whatever. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can get the paste or you can buy the capsules. You can get those at HEB if you're in the Houston area, or you can get them online at ilovejinka.com. But this is where you find it if you are in Houston.
Here at HEB in the Healthy Living Department of Probiotics, you can find Jinka 7 days a week.
Yeah. Look at a lot of Jinka syrup. Look at that. Jinka.
And of course, Kimmy Treats. If you want to have some great snacks that are healthy, got great ingredients, and three really pretty special flavors: truffle, ghost pepper, chili cheese. It's made with coconut oil. It's non-GMO. It is great. KimmyTreats.com is where you can purchase them online. They ship pretty much anywhere. You pay the shipping, they will send you the popcorn. You can also get the hand whipped body butter, which is great, especially as we get ready to head into these cooler months to protect your skin, your hands, your feet. Use it everywhere. If you're in Houston, you can find it at Sunshine's Vegan Deli or go to KimmyTreats.com. And of course, we all want to have great skincare, right? You want to take good care of your skin, man, woman, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you're using the right products for your skin, that you're giving the skin the right attention that it needs. But how do you even know to do that? Well, you're in luck. Stephanie Sterling with So Hum Skincare is who you need to contact. She will look at your skin, she will, give you suggestions about products, treatment. You'll have the best facial you've ever had in your entire life. You won't want to leave. Stephanie can be reached at 713-428-1215. That's 713-428-1215. And here's a look at So Hum. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into today's show. I'm going to let you hear from. We're going to start with the Houston Texans, right? Houston Texans over the weekend and having a chance to talk with head coach Lovie Smith on Monday, and I'll let you hear from Damien Pierce. Now the Texans went into Jacksonville. Of course, they were not favored, understandably, and this Texans team, the final was 13-6. The special teams continues to play well. The defense, there are people that complain about this zone defense they run. They do mix it up, but listen, they give you the yards. And as Lovie Smith said on Monday, there's a line that they work to stop them. So they've done really well in the red zone. All I know is they held the Jaguars to 6 points. They got their first victory of the season, and you got to feel good about that. Here is Lovie Monday, the day after the win, their first win of the season, and his first win as Texans coach.
5 games into the season, just finishing up the first quarter of our season as we see it. You have some bumps and bruises. This week we get a chance to kind of evaluate what we've done up until this moment. So I'm excited about that. Excited to move on to the to the Raiders to watch that game tonight. I'm excited to be in Houston. I know our Astros with Dusty Baker leading them. I know we're going to do well against the Mariners also. So excited about a lot of things. I'll take your question.
So obviously he feels good about getting the first win of the season. He's a football guy. He's going to watch football this week. They're going to self-scout. They're going to go back and look and see what is it that they can continue to improve on and build on from getting their first win of the season. They are in no way sitting pat, but it's good to finally get that first win. He also talked about special teams, which has been a big part early of what this team has done. I mean, we know we'll talk about Desmond King and the greatness we've seen early from this rookie running back who we call RB1. But he talked a little bit about special teams on yesterday. Let me
like to win football games. Offensively, we talked about what we want to be, who we want to be, what we want to look like. Run base, we want to be able to run the football. What allowed us to win in the end, being able to run the football. Special team wise, our special teams have been outstanding throughout. Kaimi really kicking yesterday. We have an excellent punter, but those 2 field goals that he made, 7 points we got from him were big. And defensively, we had a couple takeaways. As we see it in our calculation a little bit, if you stop them on, what's the turnover? When you get a turnover, that means the other team gets the ball, right? So we look at fourth downs the same way. That's my point a little bit. So there were 5 of those situations. Yeah, this is how we would like to play football.
Lovie Smith yesterday after the team gets its first win of the season. Damien Pierce. We've talked about Damien Pierce. If you follow this program, if you've watched the Texans at all, we've talked about this young rookie running back who many people think has not got enough touches. But I remind you guys that he didn't carry the ball that much when he was in Florida. And so to think that he's going to come into the league and automatically carry the ball 25 times a game is just kind of ridiculous. But what he has done is, for the first time on Sunday, the win against the Jaguars, he had his 20 carries. But this young man is something special. I'll let you hear from Damien Pierce. He talks about the big run that seemed to excite a lot of people that set up a touchdown drive. Damien Pierce.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Well, I really felt I was tired at first. I was tired at first, but after I caught my breath a little bit, man, like we just needed a surge, man. Like we were just looking for somebody to make a play on, because Nico made the play a couple drives before. We was putting together drives, but we wasn't quite finishing them and punishing them and playing our type of football. And we got back playing our style of football. And when we playing our style of football, we usually a great offense. When we get things rolling. And just that play kind of surged everyone up, got our spirits up, and it led to a touchdown.
Damien Pierce, he's excited. And let me tell you, since he got to camp, watching him in training camp, that's the energy he brings day in, day out. He's glad to be here. He works hard, and he does not lack confidence, but he's a sponge. He's willing to learn. That 20-yard play where he broke, it looked like 7 or 8 tackles. He talked about that play.
Initially, great block by A.J. Kane, to finish the play, you got to start the play. AJ definitely started the play for me. Great block up front, right in the slap middle of the defense, right in the heart of the defense, and sprung out to the right. And that's kind of where I flourish. Kind of smaller guys, kind of like DB types, safeties, corners, and guys who are used to tackling. And I just try to take advantage of that. Every time I get into the secondary, I always try to get some yak yards. And that's just what it was, man. Just me playing ball.
when you're tied up like that, and spinning, what are you even seeing? Like, how do you even know where?
It's all about contact balance, bro. Like if you feel somebody, just spin out. You feel me? You got somebody on your leg, pull out. You know what I'm saying? Somebody coming, dip your shoulder, double out the ball. Just get yak yards, man. It takes time. It definitely comes with time. Like I wouldn't tell you to go put no pads on and try to go spin out of something, but it comes with time. But there's ways of maneuvering. There's the right way to do things.
Damien Pierce, having fun. Definitely fun to watch. He basically put the Texans on his back on Sunday, and carried them across the finish line to their first one of the season. But you got to give credit to the defense, and especially some of these rookies. Derek Stingley got his first interception of the season. We've seen what Jalen Petrie has been doing at the safety position. He's looked really good. And the veteran on the other side of Stingley, Steve Nelson, the secondary, I think, has been the best position, the best group on this team. And many of us thought coming into the season that it might be the D-line, that may be where the strength of the team was, but it's actually been in the secondary. So all that to say, the Texans finally got a win. Lovie got his first win as a head coach of the Houston Texans. And perhaps this week, some of you are far less critical about Pep Hamilton and his play calling. I'm just saying, maybe some of you have okay, they've got a way of doing things, but part of it does have to come down to execution. Davis Mills made a few plays. We saw what he did with Nico Collins, who went up and got that 50-50 ball. Nico Collins is great for a Davis Mills because, as we talked about many times, he's not terribly accurate, and beyond about 12, 15 yards, his ball tends to sail. So a bigger receiver that can go up and get it, and it will go up and get it, is going to be important as he continues to find his way, him being Davis Mills, whatever that is. All right, I know our guest is trying to join us. I saw him pop in the studio. He popped back out as soon as he's here. I will bring in Darrell Green, the Hall of Famer, who knows a little something about playing in the secondary. He knows a little something about going up against him. There he is. He's back. So I'm going to bring in our special guest joining us for I'm going to say the first time, thinking maybe he'll come back one day. Darrell Green, welcome to Chalk Talk. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, You look like you're from the head up, pretty like your shoulders, like you probably can still move around and play a little bit.
Well, that's interesting you say that. Just bought a residence back in Houston. I've been in Virginia for 40 years. My wife and I've been married 37 years here, and it was 20 years here from 83 to 2002, and then 18 years out of the league. 62 years old. I retired when I was 43 years old after a 20-year career. But I am interested in good health. I'm interested in staying able to bounce around. I don't know if I could play a whole game. I could probably play a few plays, but I think more importantly is I can bounce around with my grandkids, 14 and 1 on the way. So that's more important to me at this stage. And as you know, I think you know that I've been working with local Dr. Baxter Montgomery at the Montgomery Heart and Health. And we did this documentary, which relates to us taking care of our health. And, and people don't even know this, and I look great, but this is the whole key with it. I had 191 over 114 blood pressure.
Wait, stop.
Yeah, what? 191 over 114 when I came to see the doc. And that so looks, they talk about the silent killer. I look good, I feel good. And sure enough, I got into, so he and I, he and a number of others have this documentary, The Heart and Soul of a Champion. And so I've been about 7 to 8 weeks of that. They're doing a gala, matter of fact, this weekend on the 21st, and his new grand opening and all that good stuff for the Baxter Health and Heart and Wellness Center clinic. And so I'm really about that now. I really am. I do want to keep running. I like to run the 40. I like to play basketball. I like to do a lot of stuff, even at 62. I like that. But you can't do it if you don't take care of your body. You can't just go by your looks.
I had Dr. Montgomery on last week, Darrell, and had a chance to kind of follow his work over the years. And when he told me, we talked about the program, and he said, I thought when I get these athletes in that they may be a little out of shape. He said, but when I started working with some and realized some of the real health challenges they had. So what have you learned other than the blood pressure about yourself, your health, and what are you doing differently, I guess, is another question.
Yeah, I think the first and foremost, everything is about what goes into your body. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's the environment as well, but it's what goes into your body. If the house is on fire and the gas leak is on, it's one thing to turn the water on it to try to kill the fire. It's a whole other thing to turn that gas off first. So it's what we're putting in our bodies is that bad gas that's burning, that's killing us. Right. And then you start there. Don't put it in there. Don't turn the gas off. Don't put that thing in there. And so I just learned that, particularly as you get older. I mean, I used to eat, all kind of ice creams. And I'm not going to give them a commercial on here and say the name of it. Exactly. But it's Texas ice cream, even though I live in Virginia. But all that stuff is great. And then when you're running and when you're young and you're playing, and I was, like I said, I was 43 when I basically wrapped up my career. So I was really.
Let's just stop and say there, that's a lengthy career. That is not at all average, right? So you were doing some things right to play that long. When you
pull back the onion, then now, okay, I'm Christian. I never cheated on my wife. I didn't drink. I don't smoke. I wasn't no hoe out there running around and, acting a fool. And I raised my kids, and I work with my community and, of course, serve the Lord in my church primarily and in my learning center. So, no, my lifestyle was major, except the lifestyle of what I was eating. I had all the rest of it, served Jesus Christ, born again in college, faithful with my wife, raised my children to be the same way. And then went to work every day, went to work hard, worked in the community, I had the 5 100s, 100% to God, 100% to my wife, 100% to my children, 100% to my job, and 100% to my community. The 5 100s is my strategy and my goal, not 150, just 100.
Mm-hmm.
5 ounces, 100% of 5 ounces is 5 ounces. So you don't put 10 ounces in a 5 ounce cup. So
Right.
just 100%, but that was a simple strategy for me. This is the part I missed. They're 100% in what you focus on, what goes inside of your body. That's the one I missed. That's the one I think I missed. And my brother died of a aneurysm just about a year ago. Everybody has high blood pressure. My family, high blood pressure. We have that in our background. I hadn't even seen a doctor in many years and didn't know that that's what I was dealing with. I was coming to Houston because of optimum health. I'm coming to be Superman. I'm going to go 63. I'm going to dunk again. I'm going to dunk. I'm going to run the 40. And then when I did all my stuff with him, he said, oh, everything looks, whoa, you got this. And so that's what I learned. And so I'm trying to get every person. I just got out with my sister, trying to text her to make sure she goes to the gala, because we're going to have an extraordinary group of doctors and professionals there that are going to be talking about good information. I don't have all the information here in front of me, but if you do, let people know.
Yeah, I've been sharing it with people because it is. There's
this
the
is sober.
gala.
I'm not.
And there's also there are tours where they're going to take people on grocery store tour. There's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of it that's free. And when Dr. Montgomery was here last week, he even said if you can't afford a ticket to the gala, you can attend free virtually, so you can get the information, which is really the goal. How important is it, Darrell, and do you think it's, I don't want to say easy, it's got to start somewhere, to start getting even current players, because it's really for anybody, to start doing some of these things, right? So that, because living well, but being healthy, and then passing it on, right? Health is wealth. Passing that on to your family is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to people.
Well, I'm not, without any offense to anyone, I'm not interested in just trying to get current players. I'm trying to get current sisters and brothers and mamas and grandmamas. That lady next door to you, Miss Clara down the street, Mr. Joe down the street to drop the truck, the guy who's living in the food desert, who's eating potato chips every day and can't go get vegetables. I'm trying to go get everybody. I just spoke to a guy yesterday who his wife has congestive heart failure. One of my teammates has congestive heart failure. He's over there with Doc. A man yesterday who lives in, I met him in Houston at the clinic. They came down to see the doc, trying to get financial relief coming out of Atlanta to bring his wife back. And he's going to do a great job. We just buried a guy that was from Virginia Beach, that his two sisters brought him. I was there and I spent time with them. And I try to spend time with a lot of his clients that are trying to figure it out. And of course, use my celebrity. I'm Darrell Green. I get in there and talk with them. Well, the man went back home, and somehow the son or somebody didn't want to agree with to bring him back, and he passed away. And so you talk about congestive heart failure, people walking around with defibrillators, all kinds of different things. So I'm not talking about, I'm not the athlete guy. The athletes have access to anything they want. Unfortunately, a lot of times you live in large and you're big out there and you don't pay attention and you don't get the information. And so I love to see anybody, athlete, a truck driver, a bus driver, a school teacher, a doctor, whoever get involved. I'm not the athlete advocate, but hey, athletes, if you're out there, if you're in elementary, high school, middle school, junior college, or pro, this is for you. Hey, mister, if you're out there and you drive a truck all day, teacher, you sitting around in the class, whatever, whoever it is, this is for human beings. This is for people, and I can use my celebrity influence or whatever you might want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's like the guy that had to do the commercial about the hair. He talked about, I'm a client too. I'm a client too. I'm not just a Hall of Fame football player. I'm a client too of healthy living.
So how did you get so bought in? And maybe it's because of the way you've lived your life. You're like, wait, I had no idea this was an issue, and just connected and realized this is something that everybody needs to know.
A couple of things. Number one, I think Doc is incredible. And I don't mean that, I don't need to blow him up. It's just the truth. I think he's just an incredible guy. He grew up on the north side. I grew up on the south side. I went to Jones High School. He's on the north side growing up as a kid, went to Rice, worked his way through school. When he graduated from Rice, he had no bills. He had paid his whole way through, and then he went to medical school. He's a hero to me. His mom, he has a story about his mom passing away. He talked about the 3 leading causes of death, particularly for African-American women. It's heart disease. The second one is cancer. And then the third one is really the results of long-term use of medicines in this country. Those are the top 3. And so he talks about that very passionately. But not only he talk about it, but it's in him. And so for the rest of his life, over 20-some years, he's been on this journey. And it's not an easy journey because you're fighting a big uphill battle, and you're not only going uphill, but you're being pulled down because people want what they want, and the world has been set up that way, and particularly here in this country. So I just want to make sure that, to your point, I guess to be in the, I'm 5'8" 3/4. I'm not a big guy. Right. I started football in JV in the 11th grade of my first year, really primarily playing. I made the varsity my senior year. I went to Texas A&M Kingsville now, and I dropped out after one semester. A guy that went to Yates had a car, and my classmate was riding home with him, and I asked my classmate, could I ride with him? They left me. My classmate got killed in that car wreck. I dropped out. I went home for a year and a half. I drove a Joski's furniture truck, Waddell's Furniture, and I went back a year and a half later. Walked on again. I got drafted first round. So I didn't expect to be a pro football player and all that stuff. That was just a miracle what God did for me. But at the end of the day, I met Doc, and I have something I think on the inside of me that, like I told my wife, I said, look, I do a lot of stuff for a lot of people, but I'm going to go. I've gone away for 5 weeks of training camp. I'm going away at 62 for 5 weeks of personal health for myself. And I went away, and guess what I did? I got with Doc. We got up at 5:30 in the morning. We got on the workout at Tom Bass at 6:30. I went back and showered. I went to Doc's office at 11. I ate uncooked plant food. Yep, uncooked plant food at 11. I did 3 therapies that he have there that are very special to help your body. And then I came home at 3 o'clock, and I ate before 4 o'clock, and after 4 o'clock, I didn't eat anything else. That was 5 weeks. So you want to be in boot camp, you eat uncooked plant food for 5 weeks. You only eat from 11 to 4. And guess what? Without medicine, your body changes. So my blood pressure isn't 191 over 114. So I'm not on medicine. I'm healthy, and I'm continuing to do the same thing. And so some people, hey, but I just love my this, I just love my that. Yeah. But my brother died of aneurysm. Yeah. And so, I mean, what am I going to decide? I told you I got 14 and a half grandkids.
Right. You want to hang out with them, right?
I want to hang out. I got 4 kids, and they're all married. I got a wife for 37 years. I want to kick it. I want to hang around. And what does it cost? What does it cost? Here's what it costs. One little analogy. Now, this is what I talk about in my Christian faith with Jesus, but I'm going to apply this to this. If I give you something that is worth $1 billion, but I tell you it costs you everything you have, you say, man, I got $100 to my name. That's what it costs. It costs you everything you have, but you ain't paying nowhere near what it's worth. Wow. It's worth more than you ever could get, but it's worth all that you do have. And you're going to pay all that you have, but you're not getting what you're paying for. You can't even pay for what you're getting. So the value is more greater than what you pay. That's the Christian faith. That's what we get with Jesus Christ. When we give everything we have, we get way beyond what we're paying for. So I'm using that in the same context. The time, the effort, the resources, the commitment is worth extremely more than you will ultimately receive. And I'm hoping by the grace of God, I'm going to see that, because I want to be at these babies' weddings and maybe even see a grandkid get married.
Wow. Well, listen, cool. You could be right on your way. I'm talking with Darrell Green. We're talking about Dr. Baxter Montgomery's program, the Heart and Wellness Center, and The Heart and Soul of a Champion is a docuseries that's going to be released later this month as a part of a gala, and just several days of a lot of great conversation, great information that you can get started. One of the things that Darrell, I cover the NFL, but because I live in Houston, I cover the Texans, and so on Fridays we do kind of like we sit around and chat with Lovie. It's not really, we don't have cameras, and so one of the guys brings in like these baked goods every week because his wife likes to cook, and so he was the other day. He said, and Lovie's just not that open. But when Lovie comes in, he's like, man, what is this? He said, man, I can't eat that. I'm trying to be healthy, right? He said, I know what's in my family. He said, did I tell you about my mother who was blind and diabetic? And so I said to the guy, I said, so first of all, you weigh in your feelings, but he doesn't eat like that. So he should come in here on Friday and put a lot of stuff into what he says is his temple because it makes you feel better. Maybe you should bring something else. How about this? Don't bring it, but that's what he said. Lovey's like, listen, that's not me and y'all eating this stuff. And he kind of laughed. But you have to know and be willing to take those steps, even when other people think, oh, just have a cookie,
That's the biggest thing too, the doc said. That's the biggest issue. It's all this historic life that we lived, and it ultimately almost becomes peer pressure, and peer pressure never goes away. Peer pressure is about your feeling like you have to, fall in line with your other peer group. And I talk about that. I do all around the country. I speak to youth, and I'm doing a number of things right now. And that whole thing of feelings versus facts. I call it feelings versus facts, facts versus feelings. I tell this funny story about how, let's say I'm in the New York Giants, and that's one of my team. We used to play the Cowboys and all them guys, and Cowboys. For you, it's Cowboys. You're Texas. So let's say we're in the Cowboys Stadium and the guy catches the ball on me in the end zone, and all their crowds in the end zone. He spins the ball. His friends run out there. They celebrate. The fans are crowd. They're going crazy. And guess what? That's what they deserve. It's their team. He won. He did a great route on me. So if I get into the feelings of that, I'm going to be mad, hating on them, or else I can get into the facts. And so I close my face and I walk back to my sideline, and here are the facts. I know I'm better than that receiver. I know I'm going to be back out here, and I know I'm going to do the job. So do I get into the feelings of the moment and want to give the finger and scream at them, or let them have their party, which they deserve? And I go back and focus on the fact that when I come back out here, it's going to be on, because I'm actually better than this guy, even though if you're better than the guy, don't mean he can't catch a ball to you. So it's really important to stick to the facts, not the feelings. And people do get into the feelings. But the reality is, man, people are sick. People are hurting. You go over to that doctor, that man's people flying in with their siblings. And the two sisters brought their brother from Virginia, where I live, and he was congestive heart. He was really bad. He should have stayed. He didn't. He went home. He didn't make it. And they called me, hey, can we get him back? And it didn't work out. Something went wrong. This other man yesterday in Atlanta, his wife, congestive heart failure. He's like, man, we got to do it. We got to find a place to stay. We got to do this. He's coming to save his wife's life. So that's just two little stories I'm telling you, but it goes on and on and on.
Right.
But no, I'm excited about this. I get excited about it. I've been there 7 weeks for my own personal health, and I feel good. I'm in good shape. I'm healthy, but this is my lifestyle. And interestingly enough, I don't know that you can. There's something different about me. I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm 20 years. I have the ability to do that, to say, that's it. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to, I'm not knocking other people, but I think it's in everybody. But I know for me, I can get it done. I can go get it done. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to get it done. I can get my butt up and be there. Some people can't. I used to never train. I train with guys, but if I only train with you if you showed up, I'm going to be there at 9. I'm not picking you up. You show up at 9, you can work out with me. I'm not coming to get you. You show up at 3, I'll be there. I'll be there at 9. I'll be there at 3. I'm not picking you up. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not wasting my time. You losing my energy. But when you get there, you with me. Let's do it. but you won't dictate whether I come or not. You won't make me late. I won't be trying to get you, but I got you if you show up. And that's just the kind of way I am. You know, I was telling my wife, like, hey, I'm going 5 weeks. And she said, well, I got to look out for the grandkids. My daughter was having a baby. She said, all right, I'll be there in 2 weeks. I said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And so that's how it works. That's how you got to
Tell me
do it.
So I know the 5 weeks, you talked about eating the plant-based diet, raw plant-based diet between 11 and 4. Obviously, you're drinking a lot of water. And so what's your diet like once you get through the boot camp for people who may be listening?
It's generally now when you in the first stages of this, it's all uncooked food. Nothing that has any fire on it because it kills the nutrients. And don't let me try to talk like I'm a doctor, but the nutrients kind of that level goes down. And trust me, I'm the kind of guy I follow the doc, try to follow to a T. And so ultimately, you know, you try to find places in your area that have food. You try not to have any oils in that food. The salts and the sugars and you try to just be very, let the food be the food. The food was created, I think, before humans. And the seed bearing fruit are not fruit and fruits without seeds. The seed bearing ones bear after themselves, which God created. The ones without the seed bear after the chemists. The chemist, now the food bears after him and his technology. The other one bears after what God created. So the doc, as you said, on Saturdays, he'll go to the farmer's market. Yeah. And he'll walk through and he'll teach us about why he don't buy those folks food and why he buy these and why he don't buy theirs and why he buy those. And that one without the seed and that one with the seed and those, they spray theirs and that's what makes you sick. That spray makes you sick. You know, when I was a kid in Houston and South Park, actually this was in Sunnyside. I was born in Sunnyside, and I lived in the CUNY Homes, Flocks Apartments, and then South Park. But we used to ride our bikes behind the spray man who was spraying for mosquitoes.
Wow.
Who knew? Riding behind him. And that stuff is coming all out. So like a lot of crazy stuff people do, but you know, you eat all this stuff in the bag, and the bag they have to do that to preserve it, just like they preserve a body, you know, so it doesn't decay, you know, before your funeral. So, you know, when you got the bags of stuff, and they talked about the McDonald's sandwich that can be sat on a countertop for a year and still, I mean, come on, y'all.
Right, because it's not real food.
I mean, look, I'm not mad at nobody. I'm not mad at pharmaceutical companies. I'm not mad at anybody, because they have the right to do what they do because the right is given to them. But I have the right to choose because the right should be given to me. Now the question is, do I have any wisdom? And so, folks,
have you learned anything? What can you share? What have you learned, and what are you doing with that knowledge? So I think it's awesome. I'm talking with Darrell Green, Hall of Famer. We're talking about the Heart and Soul of a Champion. This program is coming up, but it's really more than a program. It's a lifestyle. You talked about this boot camp, finding out that your blood pressure was, what is that, 191 over
114.
Over 114. And do you feel different now? Because you felt good before. What feels different now that you adopted this lifestyle?
That's the crazy thing, Kim. When you're going through this, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's detoxing. It's just crazy. Every day is different. You feel this, you got that. And so, but one day you feel like, oh my goodness. See, you didn't know that you don't feel good. You don't know what you don't know. And then all of a sudden you feel like, whoa, this is crazy. And that's the drug that you continue to pursue. Without drugs, you pursue the fact that there's a place that you can be that you never knew, that you're like, oh my gosh, I feel incredible. You didn't know that. You thought you felt incredible. You think you feel good now, you know? So
right.
You don't know what feeling good is and I can't tell you what it is. It's just, as you go through it, the body does it. The body's like, dude, you hooking me up, man. You hooking me up. You are hooking me up. That's crazy. And then the body just, it feels incredible, and I do. I was I told my wife that day I came through the airport, and I was just walking. I'm like, man, I feel good, and I look good.
Right.
And it sounded arrogant, but the problem was it was true.
Right.
Whether
right.
you
Well,
like when I was an NFL's fastest man, whether you say it or I say it, it's still true.
It doesn't change the facts. There you
I
go
don't
with the
say
facts
it in
of
an
the facts.
arrogant way, but the
Oh,
truth
yeah.
of the matter is, I just felt great, and I want everybody. And I'll be on my siblings. My sister's 69, husband is 70. They both on high blood pressure. My brother is 64. He's on high blood pressure medicine. My sister's 60. Everybody. And my brother died of aneurysm. So it's just, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? My brother-in-law just got over cancer. They took out all this stuff with him. We just keep talking about it and keep chopping away. I was gonna say, okay, man, I'm gonna stop this and have some discipline and come up with some strategies. And so, to your point, you can transition to cook food.
Mm-hmm.
You keep your alls down. You pay attention to what's in this stuff, because those words that you can't pronounce.
Right.
Those
it shouldn't be in your food.
Yeah. I was with somebody the other day, and they were talking. They had this stuff and talked about honey and this and that, and oh wow, it has this. But then when I looked at the other stuff, it had I can't pronounce those names, like
because they're chemicals.
And then I start Googling them, and then you start Googling it, and then they tell you the truth. I mean, they just know that we don't go look at it. They know we ain't gonna go look at it.
We're not gonna. Look at
so
it, right.
guys, we got to do this. Everybody at home, mama, and Doc can tell you about an 80-year-old woman who's now 95, living by herself. She was on 40 medicines. He got all kind of crazy stories, but it's great. Glad you're doing what you're doing. And if you want to talk a little football, I'm not a big football guy. I can talk a little football too, but I'm not that big. It was weird. I didn't watch it when I was a kid. Unfortunately, Houston Astros didn't win very much, so they wasn't on TV anyway. I didn't watch it when I played. And I get more information about it now than I did as a child or as I played, because it's just so much more media and so forth now. But I did play. I played for a long time.
You played for a long time. Do you watch it before we let you go? Do you watch it all now? Do you have any thoughts about the way the game has changed and what's different? Or are you just kind of not that really connected anymore?
Well, I think when you're inside the lines, the game hasn't changed. The game has changed in such that if it would change, it would be that, I had a big crazy debate yesterday. I was at the Children's Tumor Foundation golf tournament in Orlando, Florida yesterday. I could do that for many years. And this guy that was with us was saying that Brady was the GOAT. And we said, we was another one of my teammates that played with me. We said, well, I don't really know what is the GOAT? What do you mean by the GOAT? Because there's so many things that go into each player playing. Brady is playing a empty backfield where he's always have a mismatch, and the teams are playing zone, and inside of every zone there are holes in the zone. There's always a hole. It's as soon as you line up, there are holes.
Right.
So it's just who's going to make a mistake on defense and how big of the holes will be and who can get in the hole. Every ball should be completed primarily. And generally speaking, every ball in this generation should be completed. But if you're Darrell Green and Deion Sanders and Mike Haynes and different guys who are in the top 7, that was the greatest. The NFL, the NFL celebrated 100 years.
Yes.
Then they celebrated 100 players of 100 years. And then in the 100 players, there was only 7 of us that played corner. And most of us 7 guys, we were not zone players. We were mano guys. And so if you play us today, but yet you got 5 receivers, well, I got him, but it's a mismatch, 2 other mismatches.
Right.
So you don't play Darrell Green the way he plays man-to-man. Darrell, you got to play zone now. Well, in zone, that's always 100% an opening, because there are holes so the field is cut in pies. And all these pieces of pies, the pies go from anywhere from 6, 7, 8, from 8 to 10 pieces of pie. in the defensive pie. So all those pies are distances, piece, like cutting a piece of pie. So if you get that linebacker to take one step up, guess what? He's too late for his piece of pie. Plus his pie is a certain 5 feet wide. So if you get that to do any kind of fooling trick, then boom, you got pie. That's how the Wes Welkers became great in the NFL. Guys like him could come in and learn how to get in that pie spot, and Beasley's and different guys and different players could come and play and really be able to play in the pie. But if they had to just do mano a mano, a lot of different receivers, mano a mano, just like you got to go out there and gladiate it. Back then, you're young, but back then you had an X on the weak side, you had a Z on the tight end side, you had two backs. A great corner could cover the X or the Z. You could double the Y. I'm sorry, the Z or the other one. You could double or take the tight end by itself. And tight ends have really become a greater talent than they were. That's a change in the NFL. And then you could go in and out on the backs, take the backs, and then that was it. But then if the backs went out, and they called that empty, meaning the backfield is empty, we went crazy. Oh, the backfield is empty. You would see this empty. Change the defense. Go to zone.
Right.
But guess what? Now it's all empty. The man's got 5 receivers sitting out here. You can't cover them man to man. You don't have enough talent. The matchups are going to be bad for you. You can't cover Welker and this guy and that guy and Moss and that guy. You don't have enough guys to cover them man on man. So now the game changes. So when you talk about who's the GOAT in this era playing the zone, or who's the GOAT who had to go mano a mano, who's the GOAT in that era, this era, that era. And so there is no GOAT in that sense. It's just
I've never liked the GOAT because I just don't think you can compare eras, right? There's so many things that are different. What you could do to a quarterback when you play, you can't do now. I mean, it just changes. And so I think it's difficult.
The Detroit Pistons, boarding them guys in the head.
Can't do that now.
And then later on when you had, you got guys like the big guy, Dirk,
Nowitzki,
Samson shooting 6-7 footers shooting threes.
Right.
They shooting threes. Threes when they used to be in the post. Moses Malone in the post, Kareem in the post shooting hooks. So all that stuff has to be, you got to take all the stuff in consideration. I think it's good for television and good for conversation. And I like the conversation myself sometimes, but at the end of the day, get over that stuff. That's just all for conversation. I like the fact that they always debate if I'm the fastest player in history. If I'm the GOAT. I don't have to be the GOAT, but I'm just in the conversation. So guess what? You're talking about me.
You're talking about me.
If I'm in business, it's fine. I don't want you to just say I am and then forget me.
Right.
Let me debate me. Is it me? Is it Bob Hayes? Who is it? But I know I'm in there, so that's fine with me. So yeah.
Well, Darrell, I appreciate you spending this time with us this morning. I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to try to catch some of the events. Depends on what's happening with the Astros, but I look forward to seeing you when you come. And you said you're moving back to Houston?
I have a place in Houston. We're not moving there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tell everybody to check out MontgomeryHeart.com. MontgomeryHeart.com. Sign up and come check out the festivities from Friday to Sunday, I believe. It's going to be really great. It's going to be life-changing. Hope everybody will try to make it. Thank you again for having me.
No, thank you. And I'll be following, and I look forward to seeing you that weekend. I appreciate the time this morning. And listen, congratulations for learning this new thing and implementing it into your life, and I'm sure into your family's life.
Awesome. Thank you. Bless you.
All right. Bless you. Have a good day. All right. That was Darrell Green, Hall of Famer, who visited with us talking about the program we talked about last week with Dr. Baxter Montgomery, the heart and soul of a champion. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to let you hear from the people that support Chalk Talk, which is how we're able to do this. Okay. So remember Hillary Como. Affordable Painters is somebody that you want to contact if you're in the Houston area and you need any kind of paint work done, commercial for your home. His number is 281 657 5518. That's Hillary Como with Affordable Painters, 281 657 5518. Of course, I Love Jinka is one of our proud partners that supports Chalk Talk. You can get them online. And pretty soon, if you're a veteran, there's going to be some great news about how you too can get the product on your military bases and on your military websites. But if you're in Houston, here's where you find it at HEB.
Here at HEB, in the Healthy Living Department, the probiotics, you can find Jinka 7 days a week.
Yeah. Okay, what a Jinka sale. Look at that. Jinka.
And of course, Kimmy Treats for your vegan snacks, popcorn, made with coconut oil, non-GMO popcorn, clean ingredients. There are no chemicals on the packaging, as we were just talking about with Darrell Green. Also, there's a hand-whipped body butter that you can get that can handle, just help you have some really supple skin, right? So men or women, check out Kimmy Treats. If you're in Houston, go by Sunshine's Vegan Deli in the Medical Center area on OST, or go to KimmyTreats.com online.
Here at HEB.
And before we go, I told you that today is the start of the ALDS. The Astros are hosting the Mariners at Minute Maid Park. And here was Dusty Baker talking about we talked a lot yesterday, and he talked a little bit about just where this team is. He was asked about Jose Altuve, who, of course, is the leadoff hitter. Jose Altuve finished with 300, hitting 300 for the season. And here's Dusty talking about Altuve.
Number one, he thinks he can hit. Number two, his background, he's been hitting all his life. And he not only has speed, but he has power at the same time. There aren't many leadoff hitters like Jose Altuve that can have enough speed to steal if you walk them or get on, or have enough power to hit the ball out of the ballpark early and put you up 1-0. It's more in the vein of like Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock or some of these guys. I'm talking about some great Hall of Fame type players. And so we certainly love it when he's in the lineup, and we got a big hole when he's not.
Love it when he's in the lineup. You have a big hole when he is not. Talking about holes, we talked a lot about left field. Here's Dusty talking about left field. And, they're missing Michael Brantley, but in terms of what he's going to do about left field, Dusty Baker.
Nobody's really solidified it, especially since Michael's been out. That hurt a lot, losing Michael Brantley that nobody mentions. But, we go on who's pitching for us. Also, the possibility of having to put somebody in for defense or having to pinch run for somebody. You hate to take your big bats out of there, but also the fact that, how well, Jordan has played left field, he's played left field. I call him Golden Glove because he's come a long ways from the time when I got here. And he's playing Golden Glove left field, but all anybody sees is how he hits. But I also have to, his ankle's fine, but I also got to be cognizant of, like day after night or whatever, because we got to keep him healthy and make sure he's getting to the plate.
All right, go Astros, right? Let's do it for Dusty. That is going to do it for me for today. But listen, today is the last day you can register to vote. If you are not registered to vote, you have time. Do it today. Register. Get registered to vote. The election is about a month away. It's November the 8th. Early voting starts different parts of the country at different times, but you got to be registered. If you are registered, call somebody else and say, hey, Are you registered? And make sure that they get registered today. And then you know what we got to do? We've got to get informed. So understand the policies, not just the people, but the policies, and then the politicians, what they stand for. Vote your values. I never tell you who to vote for. I'm always going to tell you to vote your values. Okay. Vote your values, but you have to vote to be in the conversation, to make a difference for you and your family and for your community. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. If you're not vaccinated for COVID, I'm encouraging you to do that. And also, be sure and check out Dr. Montgomery's program. You heard Darrell Green talking about it. He looked fit and healthy. His blood pressure was 191 over 141. Who knew, right? Check your health, change your diet, do it in increments. Let me hear from you. Drop a note in the chat. Send me your email address, because I'm going to start sending out different, information and resources, and I'd like to share it with you. So put your email in the chat so I can add you to my email list. And of course, remember, do something kind for yourself and do something kind for somebody else. Thank you for being a part of Chalk Talk. Make sure that you share the program, share this show with your community, and I'll see you next week right here at the same time. Make it a great, great week, everybody. Go Astros.